Colonel Pius, first of all, they don't have the power to blow up a carrier task force, do they?
Well, they couldn't even find the carrier task force unless the Chinese or the Russians gave them the intelligence. But the North Korean regime overall, not just Kim Jong-un, are in something of a panic. Because, David, they knew how to beat up on Clinton, even Bush, and Obama beat up on himself. And now with Trump, they don't know what to do. They're stunned. This guy is really sending carrier groups. B-2s are overflying. An American nuclear-armed submarine is docking at South Korean
let me just
port.
give that news because
Yeah.
I think this is brand new news. This comes from Jennifer Griffin from Fox News. Fox has confirmed with a well-placed military source that the USS Michigan, this is an Ohio-class nuclear-powered submarine, is going to be in South Korea. They say it's there for a hull check, but they're also going to be doing exercises with the carrier task force, USS Vincent and other destroyers. So not only are we not just pulling back at all, but we're intensifying the pressure.
Yeah, well, you know what we're doing? We're doing something the Spanish Inquisition used to do. They didn't torture people immediately. First thing, they walked the people through the dungeons and showed them the implements of torture. And hopefully that would get them to confess right away. Well, right now, we're showing Kim Jong-un the implements of torture. And he's, you know,
But he is crazy, Colonel, and I'm just wondering if he blows some circuit and does something he shouldn't do, in which case we'd act.
That is my concern. That, you know, I say this again and again, that we don't know what he doesn't know. And Kim Jong-un may have a wildly inflated notion of his military capabilities, because his generals aren't going to say, oh, no, sir, we can't do that, because then they get killed. So we are dealing with somebody who may be unbalanced, but who is certainly, I'm sure he doesn't have an objective view of the power relationships involved. And we can't, and President Trump, to his credit, knows this, we cannot tolerate North Korea developing an intercontinental missile, whether it has a nuclear warhead or not.
Absolutely cannot. Meanwhile, we're going to move west, if you don't mind, to Europe. The big loser in the French election, you say, is actually Vladimir Putin. Why, Colonel?
Oh, absolutely, and it's wonderful. Of the 5, not just the 4, but the 5 top candidates in this race in France out of 11, 4 were anti-American, anti-NATO, anti-EU, and pro-Putin. The one guy who was pro-NATO, pro-EU, pro-US, pro-capitalism, and anti-Putin, Emmanuel Macron, is a guy who came out as a front runner, and he will defeat Marine Le Pen in the runoff on May 7th. And so Putin, he poured in, even overtly, there was a loan of over $9 million to Marine Le Pen's National Front, her political party. We have no idea how much clandestine money went into these elections. Putin waged a massive disinformation campaign, really was fake news. And nonetheless, the one guy who stood up against Putin is the guy who came out in front and was the next president. And by the way, David, Putin, after years of triumph, is on a losing streak. He was shocked when Trump sent in the cruise missiles, and he couldn't do anything. We called his bluff. The EU refused to lift sanctions. Now you have this. So could this be the beginning of the end for Putin?